Greetings, my fellow gamers. It is I, Wraith King, bringing you news from beyond the mirror, from the other world. And today, we are talking about Awakened equipment on the global version of Seven Nights. Isn't that exciting? But before we get into that, you're probably wondering, Wraith King? Who's Wraith King? I'm Wraith King. Well, I decided to call myself Wraith King because I notice a lot of people calling themselves Wraith. It's an enormous amount of people naming themselves Wraith. 9 times out of 10 is probably because they played Halo and they remember the vehicle Wraith. But I named myself Wraith because, well, it's a long story actually. I'll probably talk to you more about that a little later, why I call myself Wraith. It will always be like a second name to me, but I think I would name my YouTube channel Wraith King, because so many people have the name Wraith on YouTube that it's ridiculous. So I just decided to call myself Wraith King to show my superiority. But anyways, let's talk more about Awakened equipment, shall we? Awakened equipment can be a little weird on this one. I mentioned it before because I believe they did have Awakening. They released Awakening gems, but Awakened equipment wasn't released until recently. So, on that note, Awakened equipment can be kind of weird. The reason I say that is because, especially I'm trying to adjust to it. After playing the Korean version for so long, I noticed that you need Awakening Stones. I believe I talked about this before, but Awakening Stones can be attained through raid? Question mark? I believe they can be attained through raid. I'm pretty sure they can because I remember killing a dragon and getting like tons of those. But just to confirm, yeah, you get them through raid. But yeah, it's a little weird because you gotta kill a lot of dragons, or at least participate in the raid. You don't have to kill them. But they're quite easy to kill, especially if you have all your characters maxed out to 40, which I'm probably sure you do. A lot of my friends probably do have their characters maxed out to 40. I just don't play the global version too much because a lot of my characters aren't really here. The characters that I use personally, none of them have really been released yet. I mean, Evan's here, but the rest of the characters that I use haven't been released yet. So I'm just kind of waiting until all of my characters have been released before I start really getting into the game. So I'll be playing more of the Korean version rather than playing this one. I hope my friends don't mind though. But anyways, enough about that. Awakened gear can be a little weird, especially if you're adjusting to the Korean version, because on the Korean version you have to save up like a ton of gold. But on this one it makes it a little bit easier for you. But at the same time, you gotta grind a little bit to find raid bosses, and that can be a little bit of a pain because they appear at random. But hopefully you don't end up fighting like a really strong raid boss, and then, because that would just be ridiculous. Getting a weaker one will make it a little easier on you, so you can kill it a little faster and keep a decent pace going, so you can awaken multiple equipment instead of just taking your time on a huge boss with a ton of HP. And you're probably going to take hours for you to awaken just a couple of your awakened equipment, because those bosses take a lot of time to kill. Even with a whole bunch of your friends helping you out, the ones with a lot of HP, they can be quite a pain to kill. And just to get like five awakening stones just for one of those guys can be a bit of a problem. So be sure to just try to find weaker raid bosses. Try to avoid the stronger ones. Because, as I said, you want to upgrade as many items as you possibly can, since these were recently released. I wanted to make a video about these a little while ago. It made me feel bad that I couldn't. But I'm glad I started a video on it now, because I'm kind of learning myself a little more about the Awakened equipment now, because I can awaken a lot of equipment. A lot of my friends are finding like a ton of raid bosses, and none of them are really that strong. And I've +5'd a lot of my equipment, as you can see. And eventually, I'll end up +5ing everybody's equipment, and I'm probably going to end up doing that today. I don't know if I really feel like doing it right now because I'm kind of busy doing something on the Korean version of the Seven Nights game. But yeah, I might not do that all today. But if you're wondering what's the strongest awakening equipment, again with pressing the wrong buttons right here, you don't need to do that. If you're wondering what's the strongest equipment, it would be raid. Raid gear is probably the strongest gear you can get and it's also the hardest to obtain. Now, I've talked about this before in another video. If there's something that's a little harder to obtain, don't try to focus all of your attention on that particular item or character, because you're just going to waste a lot of your time, and you could have a lot of 6-star items already. And those 6-star items can get you far enough. Once you find a 6-star raid equipment, then you can start putting more of your time and money into it. But try not to focus so much on it, because they're hard to find. Don't save up your money and say, oh, I'm going to save up my money, so when I get that, I can +5 it and upgrade it and everything. No, no, no. Upgrade the items you have right now. And then when you find raid gear, equip it, upgrade it first, awaken it, +5 it again, then equip it. Because waiting for something that probably will never come until months later probably isn't the best idea. So, awaken the items you have, and 9 times out of 10, everybody has like a ton of Knights items, so I'm pretty sure a lot of you do. So, upgrade these first, upgrade your Knights items, awaken them, +5 them, etc. And then once you find find raid gear, not awaken, can't find raid awaken gear, that'd just be insane. I really wish you could do that. I don't think they can do that right now, because in the Korean version there is a gift that
many good news to deliver.
That gives you like a ooh, 5 tokens, nice. Anyways, there is a gift that gives you an awakened gear on the Korean version, but they don't have it here. That would be awesome if they did, though. That would be really cool. But anyways, that's kind of the detail on the raid gear for the global version. Obtaining those crystals to awaken your equipment is a different mechanic for sure, because that is not on the Korean version. I have to say I'm kind of glad they did that here in the global version, because it just makes things a lot easier. Saving up all that gold can be a little bit of a pain, especially if you want to save up some of your gems and you're trying to grind and you're trying to upgrade some of the heroes you already have, or you're trying to find more heroes through the summon shop. So you might want to conserve those gems as much as you can, and you don't want to spend the ball just on gold. So the gold thing I'm kind of happy about. They made it a little cheaper and threw in the raid crystals for the awakening items. That's a pretty cool mechanic. But anyways, that's all the time I got. Blah, 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 blah. But anyways, that's all the time I got for this video, my fellow gamers. Remember to like and comment, and please do subscribe to my channel. I make videos like this all the time on 7 Nights and many other RPG games just like it. Remember, take it easy for me, alright? Bye.